All right, Bulls fans, welcome to another episode of Chicago Bulls Central. And our Bulls lost against the Philadelphia 76ers today, much in part due to just a slow start and the inability to just take over the lead. But we'll talk all about it right after this. All right, so the Bulls unfortunately fall to 6-2, and the Philadelphia 76ers go up to 6-2 on this game. And there's a couple of stories of through this game, right? The Bulls didn't do a horrible job at defending Joel Embiid. When you look at his shooting, 6 for 18, 1 for 5 from 3, and 5 for 9 from the free throw. But he still had a plus minus of plus 10, scored 18 points overall, and had 9 rebounds. Like I said, the Bulls did a solid job in regards to that. But what really killed us is the Philadelphia 76ers bench. And this is why, for everyone who has been calling for Kobe to be traded, then after Io's ascension to say that, oh, Kobe's definitely still the odd man out. This is why this is why, in the comments, I know I'm very vocal about, hey, let's not jump. And it's not because I don't believe in what Io can be long term. 13 minutes from Io this game, a negative plus minus of negative 14, 3 points. The Bulls bench in this game only scored 13 points from the bench. 13 points. And just to contrast that, the 76ers, one of the best teams in the East, even without 2 starters, their bench scored 30 points. 30 points coming from the bench of the 76ers. This is why, and this is what I'm saying, is that unless the Bulls do something else, Kobe White, and I'm not saying that Kobe White initially is just going to automatically change everything just by himself, right? But having a player in Kobe White who can play off the ball, who has the scoring ability, not only can, coming off screen score himself, but also probably free things up for a little bit more freedom for other people to try to score. But the Bulls bench scoring only 13 points in a game is not going to cut it. And the Bulls have one of the worst scoring benches in the league. Yes, the Bulls have high energy, solid defensive players off the bench, and I love the players that we have here. But, and there was a comment in the last video of, well, because the Bulls have such great scores on the starting lineup, they don't need bench score. No, that is not the case. That is not going to cut it if we want this Bulls team to make a deep run. And I'm not saying that it necessarily has to be Kobe. I'm not saying that Kobe White is the end-all be-all, because having just one player, whether it's you have a bench that scores collectively, right, but you don't know who it is every night, something needs to change with this. And no, I'm not saying rush and trade a bunch of people. I'm not saying anything like this. I don't know if it's a scheme. I don't know what it's going to be. But having a bench that only scores 13 points is not going to cut it. It's not. And yes, while Io is going to continually show flashes over the course of the season, do you really want to bet on Io ability to do it consistently in his rookie year? I'm not saying that he won't be able to get to that point. I'm not saying any of that. But I'm saying right now, if we want our Bulls to win, this bench scoring is not going to cut it. The bench is solid. Like, I'm not down on the bench as a whole, but the scoring from the bench is not going to cut it in the long run. And this is a game where our starters did pretty good, except Vooch. Vooch had a terrible game scoring-wise. 2 for 7, 0 for 2 from 3. He rebounded well with 10 rebounds, had 6 assists, only 1 turnover, but still only 4 points from your center, who's historically over his career averaged over 20 points. 37 points from DeMar DeRozan, 13 from 22, 0 for 1 from 3, and 11 from 12 from the free throw. Also, 10 rebounds from DeMar DeRozan. Zach LaVine continues to show, he doesn't look as efficient since the thumb injury. I mean, he's been scoring very well since then. He's knocked knees with Joel Embiid at one point in this game. And Lonzo, I said I wanted to see Lonzo ball out. Lonzo had a very solid game, as he always does on both sides of the ball. But the story really in this game is the Bulls continually getting out to those slow starts. And, for more times than not, they're able to come back. And they did. At one point in this game, it looked like they were going to march on. A couple of times in this game, it looked like they were going to be able to march back and get back into this game. But the rug kept getting caught up under them. And this night, it just didn't go well for them. This Bulls can have the same exact game and then some and pull it out probably more times than not. But it did not go well for them tonight as far as that And that's the thing that this team needs to figure out is how, and you know, when I say they need to be more efficient and more consistent, this is what I mean. These droughts, like we have these hyper periods of just scoring and looking unstoppable. We also have these periods of droughts and just slow starts on both sides of the ball. That it we need to figure out how to even that out, right? And I think if the Bulls play a more even game, the outlook of this game looks totally different. It's always more difficult when you're having to come back from these huge deficits. And it's tiring. And like I said, especially when you don't have a bench that also can score, it raises problems there. Tony Bradley, again, what I want to point out, only 12 minutes from Tony Bradley in this game, but he is the only one of only 2 Bulls that had a positive plus minus. No, 3 Bulls. Derrick Jones Jr., Tony Bradley, and Lonzo Ball, the only Bulls that had a plus minus in the positive this game. It was a lot of like, hey, the Bulls were in it, right? The fact that the Bulls show that they can be in it. You know, I know the detractors are gonna say, well, there were 2 starters out, whatever. But these slow starts, something has to give in this. I don't know if it's a change of the scheme. Like I said, you don't want to do the whole the sky is falling type thing, but that's what really hurt the Bulls in this game big time is those slow starts. When you look at the quarter by quarter breakdown, right? Let's look at that. The first quarter, the Bulls got outscored by 10 points. In the second quarter, outscored by only 4 points. In the third quarter, they outscored them by 2 points. And then in the fourth quarter, they also outscored them by 7 points. Ended up losing this game by 5 points. Again, if you don't have that slow start in the first quarter and get out to that big deficit, the totality of this game changes. And they played them pretty close throughout every other quarter. The slow starts have to stop. They have to stop. But hats off to the 76ers that played a great game, even being, like I said, missing the starters that they were missing. They had people that stepped up. We need to see some changes with the Bulls. And hopefully, you know, and like I said before, adversity is going to come throughout the whole season. No, the sky's not falling. No, the Bulls aren't terrible. No, the Bulls aren't overrated. Fuck anybody who tries to come and say that shit. But again, as we talk about the Bulls still figuring things out, I know it's Bulls are 6-2. It sometimes is hard to keep in mind that they still have a lot of learning of each other to do. And now that they're playing winning basketball and expected to win, there's still a lot of growing pains. But that bench scoring has to change. It has to absolutely change. And we'll see. We'll see how it continues to go. But like I said, Sixers played a great game tonight. They came out on top. They deserved to come out on top. They led. They came out to that big lead, and they answered everything that the Bulls, every time the Bulls try to march back, they answered it. And the Bulls really, they just didn't come out on top. They did not have that last spurt. Well, they did. It just, you know, they weren't able to complete it. But the Bulls continue to show hard as they have every game, and they continue to show that they belong here. And you know, this is going to happen. You're going to have losses over the course of the season. We were never going to win all 82 games. And like I said before, the Bulls are at some point are going to go on a losing stretch. Hopefully that's not coming now, but it's going to happen. How they rebound from it, how they adjust, all that stuff, what they learn from it is going to be key for the longevity of this season. Let me know what you guys think down below of the Bulls' performance. Let me know also what you think about the Bulls' bench scoring. And if you agree with me and you think that's going to be a problem as they go further on in the season, or if you think that it's not going to be as big of a deal as me. Do you think I'm tripping? Let me know down below. But like I like to end every video on, go Bulls. I love you guys. Peace.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.